Друзья, всем привет! Канал «Английский простым языком» на связи. Меня зовут Никита. Сегодняшнее видео, которое вы смотрите, будет самое сумасшедшее и интересное на этом канале. И даже видео с МГИМО можете ставить сразу на второе-третье место, потому что сегодня рядом со мной сидят два носителя языка, Таиса и Даша из Америки и из Канады. И сегодняшнее видео, конечно же, будет записано на двух языках и преимущественно на английском языке. Я подготовил очень интересные вопросы, я заранее им не говорил, что это будет. Но, ребята, заранее ставьте ваши лайки, пишите комментарии и, конечно же, подписывайтесь на этот канал. И, конечно же, здесь будут субтитры на английском и на русском языке, для того, чтобы вы, конечно же, не заблудились по мере этого видео. Я имею некоторые здесь заметочки для того, чтобы тут не начать говорить непонятно о чем. У нас снимает здесь 3 камеры, 1, 2, 3, и поэтому мы сейчас обсудим много очень интересных моментов. Как вы знаете, на этом канале я уже сделал много опросов с носителями языка из Вьетнама, там Таиланд, как говорится, британцы, американцы, пакистанцы, афганистанцы, ирландцы, кто только угодно. И поэтому мы сегодня с вами, конечно же, про эти все моменты поговорим. Даша, Taisa, thank you so much for actually agreeing to participate in this interview. Dasha, can I ask you the first question? You've been to America. How many times?
Oh, I don't really remember. I've been born there, and then we were like traveling there every year, and sometimes a few times a year. So I don't recall. Sorry.
Yeah, and I know that you have an American passport, right?
Yeah, surely I do.
Well, guys, it's a privilege. You know, what were you telling me about the culture of living in America? What's the main difference between like people and maybe the whole, country between Russia and America?
I haven't quite lived there for a long time, but they have that thing, like if in Russia you meet a person, you like start being friends, you're like meeting them every day, you're talking to them. You meet them there, and the next day you're nobody. They will not tell you like hello or anything.
Yeah.
They're not going to speak to you anymore.
I've heard it's very common to say like, how are you? And you don't need to answer as a full question. Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, especially in Canada, yeah.
Yeah. You were born in Canada?
Yeah.
Well, and you relocated here to Russia?
Yeah, I moved to Russia with my mom in the end of 2021, in like November, somewhere around there.
Okay, and before it basically means that you've been living there for 12 years, for 13 years?
No, less, but we were also constantly moving to my grandfather. He lived in Kyrgyzstan, and we used to visit him a lot, and especially when he was sick, so we would like go from Canada to Kyrgyzstan. So that's why I always kind of I knew both languages pretty well because I was constantly speaking English in Canada and then Kyrgyz and Russian in Kyrgyzstan. And actually, at one point when we came there, I even went to first class in Kyrgyzstan, which is a Russian school. So technically, my first year of school was in like a Russian school. And then we moved to Canada and we stopped coming over to him since he passed away. And we stayed in Canada.
A little bit about maybe daily routine there when you were there. And you were in a summer camp, right?
Yeah, it was like a camp located in the university. So we were traveling like by foot through the whole thing. We were going from one place where we were staying in the college to another college. It was taking us for like 30 minutes about that time. And we always had to get up at like 6 because they had another time there to like get breakfast and all of that, and we got another time like on our papers, so we had to hurry up all the time.
Okay. Did you have a chance to maybe observe American culture in terms of, again, their day-to-day routine? You know what they do in the morning? Maybe they're used to just going to the maybe cafeterias or something, or maybe different cultures when they see each other. You've said that you are supposed to say like hello or something, to everybody.
Yeah, you should, but it doesn't mean they will answer.
Uh-huh.
There were a lot of Italians there. They were kind of rude, and they were eating anything. Like they had no thought to it. They weren't eating like salads in the morning and then like pizza in the afternoon. No, just pizza, and pizza.
Oh, really? Actually, guys, we will talk a little bit about their food industry because American people are famous for eating a lot of shitty food, to be honest, as far as I know. Thais, can you tell me maybe, because I guess you remember Canada pretty fully, you've been living there for quite some time, and what is it like to be there? Is there any difference between here, like walking down the street here and there?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Well, probably one of the biggest differences, once again, for me is like here in Canada, especially in your neighborhood where you live, when you walk down the street, you usually smile at the person who walks past you. You might say hi or like, how are you? How's your day going? And even when you go to the store and you're like talking to the cashier will always ask you how your day is going, and you always answer just like, oh, good, how about you? And that's like, that happens everywhere. And when I first moved to Russia, it was like very unusual for me that when you walk down the street and smile at someone, they look at you as if you're like insane. Like, do I know this person? What's going on? So yeah, that's something that that's kind of what Canada is famous for. It's like their over friendliness. But yeah, and I haven't really seen that a lot in Russia, like the over friendliness.
Yeah. There is a famous saying, Slavic face.
Yes.
Yes, Slavic face, yeah. Okay, moving on. A little bit maybe about some stereotypes. Which Russian people have about Americans.
I'm not quite sure, you know,
Can you
like
think maybe
the
about
fact
three
that
of them?
they're like eating a shitty food. Yes, absolutely,
It's true.
they do.
Oh, yeah?
But most of them are trying to like try some diets and all of that. Maybe that's just people I've met there. But they were like fit, they were doing sports, and they were fine.
And they were fine. Okay, well, maybe there is a stereotype that's, I don't know, probably, let me guess, guys. Maybe they live in one-story houses. Only in one-story houses with a garage, with a yard, or not?
Not only.
There are a lot of apartment
There are a
buildings.
lot of these like type of thing. I was in Miami, and mostly Miami is located in like high building.
Okay.
But there's also a place where there are like one stage. How do you call that? I'm sorry.
one-story house.
One-story houses. But there were also like three-story houses too, like a lot of them.
Well,
It
great.
depends on the place. Like
What about Canada? You know, are there any stereotypes that Russian people may have?
Probably the over friendliness. That's like the number one stereotype I can think of. Maybe like that we, I don't know, drink maple syrup as instead of water. Very stupid stereotype. No, we don't do that. Actually, a lot of Canadians don't like maple syrup. They find it like way too sweet. I love maple syrup, and I always bring it from Canada. So I guess I can check into that stereotype.
Okay. Do you know, by the way, who the most famous actor is who were born in Canada? Comedian Jim.
Yeah, no, I know Ryan Reynolds. He's actually from Vancouver, which is where I grew up, and I love him.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. He's kind of a comedian as well. He's quite charismatic. I don't know like a comedian.
Jim
like-
Carrey.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's from Canada?
He was born, yeah. And actually, back then when he started his comedian kind of career, he used to make a lot of jokes at that it's cold. Yeah, by the way, that's a stereotype. It's a stereotype. Yeah, that's in Canada. It's very cold.
Well, honestly, Canada is kind of like Russia when it comes to that question, because, you know, in Russia, we have some parts of Russia that are cold, some parts of Russia are super warm. Same thing goes for Canada. Where I lived, it was very rainy. It would rain like 9 months straight, and it was just like a really, really rainy climate. And even in the winter, it was mostly rain and not snow. So mostly rain. It wasn't really cold where I lived. Vancouver is like BC, British Columbia state, so it's not really cold.
Well, great. Guys, let me just check the camera for a couple of seconds, because we have no cameraman here, and just I'm the one responsible for all of these three cameras. Great. You said before, Dasha, about making friends there in America. You know, what do you say? Is it far more difficult to do?
no, not at all. It's not difficult to do. It's difficult to keep.
It's difficult to keep.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it take? You know, seeing each other a couple of times a week, or what's the difference between having friends here in Russia and there?
I mean, if you make friends here, it takes some time to make friends, but then you can like hang out with them every day. You can meet them, you can talk to them. But there, you must become like kind of a famous person, someone who everybody knows there. And then they're gonna say hello and all of that because you get some privileges, and they want these privileges from you.
Okay, yeah, they want to get some privileges for you.
Yeah.
Such as what?
For
Money?
example, I got like free food anytime I wanted just because I was performing with singing. They liked it very much. That's why everyone there knowed me. So other Kazakh people, there were like two groups of Kazakh people, and they weren't talking much to Americans because they were like their group. They're talking in Russian, not much talking in English, and nobody knew them. And when someone met them, they weren't staying with them for long.
Okay, they didn't stay with them for long. Okay, great. Thais, what about in your opinion in Canada? What about making friends? Is it far more difficult than here in Russia?
No, I wouldn't say that actually. I think making friends in Canada and in Russia is like about the same. you know, for me it was a bit difficult when I moved to Russia because I didn't know a lot of like the slang. So slang that teenagers use and children use in Russian. I was like, what's going on? And I didn't know any swear words as well,
I mean, in
which
Russian.
turned out to be, yeah, Russian,
in
which
Russian.
turned out to be a
You
problem.
didn't know any swear words in Russian?
I knew too that everybody knows in America, and that's it. And that's all I knew. And I remember when I got my first friend, and she would like swear constantly, and I had no idea what she was saying. And I would come home and I would repeat everything to my mom. Yeah, that was a bit problematic. So yeah.
Также, друзья, если помимо английского слуха, который мы здесь с вами очень активно тренируем на этом канале, вы бы хотели прокачивать ваши разговорные навыки, то хочу вам сообщить, что на данный момент я провожу разговорный клуб в онлайн-формате, который отлично подойдет всем тем, кто уже начал изучать английский язык. Мы с вами в групповом формате смотрим большое количество видео, читаем статьи, и посредством этого, конечно же, мы с вами обсуждаем большое количество интересных вопросов и учим много и много полезных слов и выражений. Поэтому, если вы уже давно мечтали о том, чтобы наконец-то начать уверенно говорить на английском языке, в описании к этому видео указана вся необходимая информация. Переходите, записывайтесь, я вас уверяю, вам очень и очень понравится. Yeah, and you know, what about safety? Because it seems to me that there is a stereotype saying that it's very dangerous to be on the streets in America, like New York or something.
I had no problems like
You
at
had
all.
no problems.
It was like super safe.
Yeah. What was the state? Miami, you said?
Miami.
Yeah, and your camp? And your camp was located there?
In Miami University.
At Miami University. Uh-huh. Well, it's like you were quite easy walking around the streets after 9 p.m.
Yeah, we were like walking with some leaders of the groups. Like Kazakh had leaders, some Italians had leaders, and we could walk with them. Or either I could go with our chaperones. They're like, were looking after us.
Yeah. Okay. I just have to move my camera because it's very sunny. Thais, what about what about Canada? Is it safe to be there, especially for maybe adolescents, for kids, for for everybody under 18 or 17?
It depends on the neighborhood. It really depends where you live, what city, what neighborhood, which honestly, I think it's like that in any country because, it just depends which neighborhood you live in. For example, where we lived, it was pretty quiet. It was quite peaceful. But in downtown, it was quite chaotic. There's a lot of people that are high and on since a lot of have become legal in Canada, and it's really dangerous.
Are they?
Yes, and you could get downtown, and there are a few cases. So it's really dangerous, but it depends on the neighborhood that you live in. So the neighborhood I lived in was peaceful. And I know like in Toronto, for example, my father lives in Toronto, and there's a lot of thieves there, and they love stealing cars. Like my dad had 2 of his cars stolen. So
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and maybe right now let's get straight to healthcare, because again, there are a lot of rumors about that, like private healthcare industry, state healthcare industry. Did you, when you were there, did you go to some clinics or hospitals, or maybe to the dentist or something, and how much did it cost?
I just needed my lenses, like daily lenses. I bought them there, but it took a long time. And then like some thieves started texting me, like from some random number. They started like, yeah, like мошенники.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Like that type of thing. That was crazy. I couldn't understand what was that. I just blocked them, and they kept like texting me from other numbers because I think like they have hacked into the system.
Yeah.
I don't know. But actually, I was just going to CVS. You know what CVS is?
Yeah, CVS.
It's
No,
like a store.
no, I have no idea.
It's like a store. They have everything there. And I
really?
couldn't buy some things there because you needed a receipt. But that's the only thing I had there. I didn't have to go to a hospital. So.
Thais, what would you say about Canada? Did you have a chance to go to some, any institutes responsible for giving healthcare? Is it like dentist clinics? Is it hospitals? Is it maybe some general practitioner, ophthalmologist or something?
Well, it is a bit hard for me to talk about that since I was a child and I didn't really care. It was mostly my mom who knew all the problems. But one thing I know for sure is that like anything to do with your teeth, dentists, super expensive in Canada. And a lot of our friends actually would like travel to different countries where it is cheaper. It's cheaper in Russia, definitely, at least a bit. Healthcare is, for us it was a bit problematic, and some Canadian doctors are just not the best, a lot of them. And we actually, like the clinic that we used to go to, we had one Russian doctor there. Well, he was Jewish, but he spoke Russian like fluently. And everybody wanted to go to him, and like the clinic would open like at 7 a.m. and there would be a huge line by like 6 a.m. just like the people that wanted to go to him because the other doctors just weren't so great. So yeah, the healthcare is, you know, for some people it works out. For us, it was a bit like problematic, but yeah, it's definitely a bit different than Russian healthcare.
Thais, what would you say in Canada about the quality, not the price, but the quality?
Well, for us, the quality wasn't really the best coming from like Canadian doctors. Usually the best quality came from like doctors from Iran or like Russian doctors or Jewish ones. So people from other countries. But Canadian doctors, I don't know, sometimes it's just like, we had this one case where I was sick, we went to the doctor and he prescribed us a certain like antibiotic and my mom said that no, I'm allergic to this one, I can't have this one. And he got so mad at my mom that she dared to say that like, we won't take this antibiotic. So, you know, for us it wasn't really the best, but maybe for other people it was fine. Just we didn't really get the best out of it.
Yeah, actually it's getting sunnier. We have to move our cameras and chairs. Well, great, here we are.
А как будет, типа, частная клиника и вот бесплатная?
Private
Private, да, вот.
Yeah, private.
There are no private clinics in Canada. Они все бесплатные.
Yeah, a little bit background adjustment of our cameras because it's very sunny and it's moving around. Yeah, that's why we have to make sure the cameras are behind the sun. Moving on, yeah, about food, of course. Yeah, it's as I said before, American people are famous for eating a lot of shitty food. You were there for, you know, a couple of weeks. What was about your diet? What did you eat there?
I was trying to eat salads as much as I could because like there were also like, you know, dinings which were called junk food. Just like that.
What about different hamburgers and cheeseburgers?
I didn't eat that. I didn't try even.
I didn't.
I was trying not to eat it at all. Like, I tried some pizza. It was not bad. Italians were very furious. They hated that whatsoever, but I find it nice.
Thais, what about food industry in Canada? Is it as healthy as here in Russia, or it's far more maybe harmful for digestive system, kind of?
I mean, I'd say it's like about the same as Russian food. There is a lot of like, when you come to the grocery store, like a lot of the products you can buy, it says like organic. So example, there's just normal apples that will be cheaper, and then some apples that are more expensive and they're organic. And like the cheaper apples, they have this very suspicious artificial shine to them, and the organic apples don't have that. So usually we would buy everything organic, and anything that isn't organic usually has some sort of like chemicals and just isn't as good for you. I haven't seen a lot of that in Russia, even though I think there is such a system, but I don't know, I didn't really...
No, actually we don't have such a system. We have Vkusfil, but it's usually we don't have the separation between organic and non-organic food.
Right, so we have like that separation for pretty much all foods. Like now that I think about it, pretty much everything, there's like a separation. It's organic and it's just like not organic, and it'll just be cheaper.
Is it far more expensive, I mean, organic food?
Ooh, I don't know how much more expensive it is. I don't remember that, but it is, yeah, it is more expensive, so that's for sure.
By the way, we had like gluten-free and with gluten food there. Like it was separated that way.
Okay. You know, is it the whole mission to find their healthy vegetables and fruits?
In the camp where I was, there was a place where you could go and take any vegetables you want. So it wasn't a quest to do that. So it was pretty easy, but no one was usually there.
So a little bit maybe about entertainment industry, different cinemas, different maybe theme parks and stuff. Did you have a chance to visit any of them?
I visited Orlando resort, like the Islands of Adventure twice at that time. That was amazing. I can't even say what would be better than that.
Okay. You know, was there a Disneyland there?
It's like a Disneyland, but not quite. They have more of like roller coasters, that thing. And Disneyland was like near to that place, but it's not that interesting. That's for little kids.
Okay, thank you. So, Thais, what would you say about entertainment industry in Canada? Maybe again, cinemas, different theme parks, maybe some usual parks, maybe libraries, museums, something, yeah, which people go to for just fun.
Well, I think cinemas are a bit like something that I can say for sure difference is like the cinemas. There's a lot more food you can get at the cinemas. Like there's even like in the cinema that we had, there was like a separate section that was like 18 plus where you could get alcohol and you could just watch like 18 plus movies and you could get like alcohol and different type of snacks, and there's like just a lot more food that you can get. Usually when I go to the movie theaters in Russia, you can get like nachos and you can get popcorn, and that's about it, and you can get chips. And there you can get chicken, you can get nuggets, you can get poutine, love poutine. If anybody knows what that is.
Love pudding?
Poutine.
Poutine.
No, poutine. It's like it's this dish. It's French fries with gravy and cheese, and it's like melted up. It's like it's a Canadian dish. It's delicious, but it is considered junk food.
Great, and of course, moving on, guys, to education. Well, I have some questions. What does it look like to study probably English in America in your camp?
It was pretty interesting. We had like 4 hours each day from Monday to Thursday. On Friday we had excursions. Sunday, Saturday, same thing. But from Monday to Thursday we had 4 hours of English, like 2 separate lessons, which were like divided in like 2 sections. First one we're like mostly doing something, and second one we're mostly like writing or talking.
Writing and talking.
Speaking was the number 1 there.
Yeah, priority.
It was prohibited to talk in other languages, but who cares there?
Okay, were there any fines or penalties for speaking in other language?
Not really, but I got the best scores, as they told me. I was like the number 1 student.
Number 1 student?
Yeah, they exactly told me
Yeah,
that.
you said before there were a lot of Italians.
Yeah, they had an awful English.
You hated them.
Most of them. But there were a lot of nice people. Like, for example, I forgot his name, I'm sorry. If I will remember that, I will tell you.
Thais, what were you saying? Well, you used to study there for how many? 5 years, I guess, in school? Or
like about
5 years. Okay, in English. And also I've heard that in Canada there is a second official language, which is French.
Yes.
Did you learn that?
We did have it as a subject in school, but I absolutely hated it, and I did not did not study. Yes, but the part of Canada where I lived in, it was the English-speaking part. So, but there is like Quebec, stuff like that. That's the French part, and people mostly speak French there. So, if you're gonna go there, it's better if you know French.
What were you say about your experience of learning English? How was it conducted? Were you speaking? Were you learning grammar? Were you reading, writing? Or
We were learning grammar, a lot of essays, there were a lot of spelling tests. So they would give us like a list of words that you had to memorize how it's spelled. Because I think everybody who has at least tried learning English knows how weird the spelling of certain words are. For example, like the word tongue, right? And it's spelled like tongue-gue. So just for example, so we would be given like a list of these words. We had to memorize them. And then on Fridays in the morning, we would have a test where we would like write it all down and like see how much we memorized. We had a lot of that, and I have never seen that here in Russia. There was a lot of grammar, a lot of spelling tests, a lot of essays.
Actually, we have had that in previous school, like that thing.
Spelling tests?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never.
I don't know why.
The main difference between learning English in Russia and America, what do you think Russian teachers do wrong? Wrongly.
I mean, there in the camp, he was like our first teacher. I love him very much. He was very cool. He was teaching us how to present ourselves, how to like apply for a job and all of that. Here we're learning like grammar and all of that. That's very important, but not that important as presenting yourself and speaking to people.
But in Russian school, there is no such thing. Everybody sits at the table, nobody speaks.
We speak sometimes, but it depends on the teacher and people who are there. Like, for example, in my class, there's not much people who don't have an accent.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a friend who has, like, his sister is married to an Englishman, like, from England. So he has, like, a little bit of British accent, but it's mixed with American and Russian, so it's kind of hard to understand him sometimes.
So, Thais, what would you say? Right now you study in Russian school. Do you study English, I guess?
I
guess it looks quite creepy, based on your level. I guess you know English better than your teacher.
Probably. No, I've definitely caught my teacher making some weird mistakes, especially when it comes to pronunciation. Like one time, there's like the word determined, and instead of saying determined, she said determined.
Determined, great. Cucumber.
And I was like, what, lady, you're teaching these kids, and everybody was copying what she's saying. And yeah, that was a bit weird. So, but honestly, I think probably I've met a lot of Russian kids who know English really well in like grammar. They can write in English, but they can't speak it. And like they couldn't start a conversation with me. So they can understand what I'm saying, but they can't answer. So I guess Russian teachers should just like get their kids and their students to just talk more and just really practice talking with somebody, having a conversation, even just like small talk. So something like that.
Yeah. Are you going to take the university exam for English?
I don't know yet, to be honest. I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably, yeah.
About learning grammar, you said before that it's not as necessary as speaking.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, is it possible to learn English without knowing grammar, without spending
No.
any hours?
You need to do that, like constantly. You need to speak, but grammar, you need to learn that, but not all the time. Because if you will be fixed only on that, you can be just a teacher.
And is it hard to understand a lot of people from different parts of the world? Not Italian, I mean English-speaking people, Irish people, Scottish people, British people.
I mean, they had some problems. For example, where I was, everyone was messing up say and tell. He said to me, okay, that's like, he told me.
Yeah.
It was a constant problem for everybody. I met a Korean girl, she had all the problems at once, but I helped her a little bit. So in the end, we could speak like pretty normal.
So what about grammar? What's your take on that?
Well, you know, all like the present simple, past simple, stuff like that, I don't really remember that being like told to us in Canadian schools. Maybe it was there and maybe I just like don't remember it anymore. I myself honestly remember all that stuff pretty bad. Like I don't really know all of those rules, or at least like I know them, but not like, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you one right now. Usually I just like, as somebody for whom the language is native, I kind of like, I guess I like feel or like have this instinct on how to say the word correctly. Kind of how probably when you guys speak in Russian, like I make some mistakes when I speak in Russian and people have to correct me because I don't understand I'm making these mistakes. And you probably like, even not knowing the rules, you would understand I'm making like a mistake in grammar. So I guess the same goes for me.
Do you find it hard for Irish people, Scottish people, British, from New Zealand, Australia? Do you find it hard to understand them?
Sometimes, yes. Like there's a lot of foreigners in Canada that live in Canada, and sometimes like my mom understands them better, maybe because she has an accent and for her it's like a second language. But for me, especially people with Indian accents, I could barely understand what they're saying. I don't know why. Usually like British accents, Scottish and Irish accents, those are also hard to understand, but I think I can understand them. Mostly like for some reason I had a lot of trouble understanding people with like Indian accents. I don't know why.
Yeah, with Indian accents. Yeah, they are quite famous for not pronouncing all the words and for not knowing grammar. Let me quickly check the camera. Native speakers, American people, they use a lot of phrasal verbs. To bring about, to come by. What the hell? Is it, why?
I don't know why I use it as well. Like,
Usually you use
Yeah.
them a lot?
yeah, I used them a lot. When I was there, I was like speaking the same way with them. When I met that girl from China, but she wasn't from China, she was living the whole life in America, but her parents are like Chinese or something like that. I'm not sure how her heritage go, but like she had a wonderful English. She like tested me first. We were sitting in some kind of a place and she was like speaking very fast, trying to determine if I can understand her as fast as she talks. And it was fine. And she was using all these phrasal verbs. I like them.
Well, actually, yeah, guys, it's true 100%. Yeah, but anyway, in my opinion, just my opinion as a teacher, you have to understand them, but it's not necessary to use them because basically in 90% of cases you can easily explain all the context by using regular verbs without phrasal verbs. But sometimes you cannot. For example, the plane took off. I don't think there are any other equivalents of saying the plane took off. Well, Thais, what about phrasal verbs in Canada?
Oh yeah, I mean everybody uses them. You know, some people use them more often, but mostly native speakers all use some sort of phrasal verbs. So yeah, I mean, yeah, people use them.
What's the best way to learn new words? And you know, when you were in the camp, did you spend some time on learning new vocabulary?
Yeah, we had that. For example, we have a lesson. We have some topic for a lesson. Like one time we had marriage.
Marriage,
Yeah, for example, marriage. And social clues, all of that things.
Prenuptial agreement, do you know what it means?
What is it?
Prenuptial agreement?
No, I don't know that.
In Russian, what's the Russian prenup? Брачный договор? Prenup, yeah.
That's cool.
Prenuptial agreement, yeah. Getting divorced, getting married, all of those words, yeah.
There we actually started learning new words like that way, like marriage, theme. And then we got some new words. We used to make sentences with that. We used to speak to each other about that. We had to explain that. We had a lot of exercises with that. So I learned a lot Like for example, do you know what the word is for a secret marriage when
Secret marriage.
Yeah.
When you're married with one
Like
person
Romeo and
and then
Juliet. When you
no,
just
actually.
escape.
It's
Elope.
elope.
Elope. To
Elope.
elope with someone.
That's
Like for
interesting.
example, like Romeo and Juliet. They tried to elope, but it didn't end well.
Thais, what about learning new words? What's the best way?
Well, since I didn't really have to learn English as a foreign language, but my mom did, and what she used to tell me, like she learned it in a year, which I think is really cool. She would, first of all, watch a lot of movies with subtitles. For example, a Russian movie with English ones and vice versa. Also, she would like read books in English. She'd read one page, whatever words she couldn't understand, she'd highlight them, write them down on a separate paper, and when she finished reading this page, she would like search up all these words and see what they mean, like what they meant. So, and I think those are really good techniques and a good way to learn new words. And probably, I think if you learned a new word, try using it in a conversation. Not too much, don't go crazy, but at least once or twice to kind of get used to it.
Get used to that actually. We're about to check your grammar, by the way. What's the number one thing that you would maybe recommend to anyone learning English, especially Russian people?
I would recommend to like switch mostly to English because Russian surrounds you and English would be like on your phone, watching movies, listening to the music. It helps a lot. I've moved a lot since like 6th grade. On 6th grade, I was stuck for a few years because my teacher didn't have many, let's say, abilities to teach us with that. And I was just stuck in one level and I couldn't move on. So I started doing everything in English on my phone, like watching movies, playing, like doing everything. And it helped a lot.
Yeah. Do you constantly watch something in English nowadays? Some serious movies?
Yeah, I've watched Hannibal like 2 times fully on English without subtitles. Yeah. And I've watched, like a few days ago, I've watched Why Women Kill. Full 2 seasons, fully on English without subtitles.
Yeah. What was the percentage of words that you were able to comprehend? 90%, 95%, 100%?
100, I think.
Really, everything?
Like I understand everything. I had no
Gosh.
problem. With that one, it's like not very heavy one. That series is not using very complicated words, so maybe that's the reason.
No complicated words. Okay, Thais, what would you say? Your recommendation to anyone who learns English? Number one advice.
Well, I kind of already listed off a few things in the previous question, so probably all of that. And maybe, I guess just try speaking a bit more, because once again, as I've already said, I've met a lot of Russian kids who know the language, they can understand me, but they can't speak with me. They can't have a conversation, a dialect. So I would recommend trying to speak with somebody, I don't know, at least like AI, anything. Just try talking, having a conversation, because otherwise you'll just be stuck on the level where you can understand, but you can't speak.
By the way,
maybe, I don't
it's
know.
also a good idea just to repeat the words from a movie. That's very good.
Also, that's a good one.
Technique, yeah?
Yeah,
That's a good technique.
100%. Теперь мы буквально за 5 минут проверим одни интересные моменты переводные. Мне очень интересно, как реально, потому что моя позиция при преподавании английского — это именно проживать контекст. Правила — это да, но именно как вы это в голове представляете. Хочу сказать такое предложение. Если бы у меня был $1 миллион, я бы купил этот дом.
If I had $1 million, I would buy this house.
Я хочу сказать в прошлом. Если бы я не совершил бы ту ошибку, я бы поступила бы в тот университет год назад.
If I hadn't had made this mistake, I would have gotten into the college.
Если бы только я бы ему вчера бы не нагрубила.
If only I hadn't had being rude to him.
Yeah, if only I hadn't been rude to him.
Yeah.
Well, great. Я бы желала, чтобы у меня сейчас было вот такое дерево на участке.
I wish I had such a tree in my yard.
Я раньше жила в Америке.
I used to live in America.
I used to live in America. Okay, great. So, мне нужно привыкнуть к использованию этой камеры.
I need to get used to using this camera.
Я не привыкшая к хождению на этом участке.
I'm not used to walk in this area.
Сейчас люди ремонтируют этот дом.
Right now, people are renovating this house.
Этот дом сейчас ремонтируется этими людьми в данный момент.
This house is being renovated right now.
Well, даже не знаю, что сказать. Вот такой именно должен быть момент. Я, конечно, считаю, что для взрослых, когда взрослые учат английский, в принципе, это очень сложно, вот именно без чувства грамматики, но это возможно прийти. В принципе, я же когда говорю, просто у меня мозг одновременно понимает, что я говорю, вот if I hadn't made, я сразу хоп, тут идет грамматика, тут понимаю. А вот только по контексту, мне кажется, это только возможно, если с маленького возраста изучаете. Есть маленькая просьба, сможем ли мы что-нибудь минуточку или полминуточки спеть? А я вот так, вы можете вот так, кстати.
Вы будете вместе с нами,
просто-
будете вместе с нами петь?
Что с нами?
Будете танцевать на заднем фоне?
Да.
И вот это вот.
Колени, боюсь, мои уже старые не выдержат.
Как будто бы это не очень по-девичьи.
Я просто покажу, как.
А, ну ты молодец. Девицы, красавицы, душеньки, подруженьки, разыграйтесь, девицы, разгуляйтесь, милые, затяните песенку, песенку заветную, заманите молодца к хороводу нашему, как заманим молодца, как завидим издали, разбежитесь, милые, закидаем вишеньем, вишеньем малиною, красною смородиной. Не ходи подслушивать песенки заветные, не ходи подсматривать игры наши девичьи. Девицы, красавицы, душеньки, подруженьки, разыграйтесь, девицы, разгуляйтесь, милые, затяните песенку, песенку заветную, заманите молодца к хороводу нашему, как заманим молодца, как завидим издали, разбежитесь, милые, закидаем вишеньем, не ходи подслушивать песенки заветные, не ходи подсматривать игры наши девичьи, не ходи подслушивать, не ходи подсматривать игры наши девичьи.
Если вы еще захотите смотреть дальше мои видео, в принципе, можете это сделать. Я даже не знаю, что сказать, это было просто прекрасно. Спасибо огромное. Ребята, ну вы не имеете права не поставить лайк, не подписаться, обязательно все будет. Здесь вся информация про девчонок, в общем, все будет. Будет потом много очень всего разного контента. Я надеюсь, что вам сегодняшнее видео понравилось. Ставьте ваши лайки, подписывайтесь на этот канал, пишите, конечно же, ваши комментарии, потому что это все очень поможет сильно улететь этому видео в стратосферу, я надеюсь. Но если вы, конечно же, хотите после такого моего позора присоединиться в наш разговорный клуб, то, конечно же, вся информация указана ниже в описании к этому видео. Переходите, записывайтесь, вам точно очень-очень понравится. На сегодня это будет все. Увидимся с вами, друзья, в нашем следующем видео. Пока! Теперь знаешь, что я хочу сделать? Быстро вот так сделать, типа, наверное... Cover, да. Cover. Вот есть хит, если мысли, может быть. Мне просто, типа...
Ты просто стоишь на коленях.
Да, да, это, кстати...